flow with friction and heat transfer. Okay, now till now whatever we have studied is we have assumed all ideal things. We have talked about asymptotic flow, but in the real fluid, both heat transfer and friction will be present in an actual device. So that is what we are going to study in this chapter. So this is the syllabus. So we'll talk about flow in constant area duct, and we'll talk about Fano line. So what is a Fano line and how do we draw it? That we'll see. We looked into isothermal flow without any temperature change. We'll talk about Rayleigh line flow. We'll see what are the choking effects and flow with heating and cooling. So this is what is given in your syllabus. Now, one-dimensional flow. So this we have, so far we are studying this type of configurations. What is given in your syllabus. Now, one-dimensional flow. So this we have, so far we are studying this type of configurations. We are looking into streamlines, and we have also talked about D11 nozzle. So this actually, strictly speaking, it is not one-dimensional, but for our study purpose, we are approximated it as one-dimensional, and we have done some analysis. Now let us look at real flow, okay, or realistic flow. So we'll start with constant area duct. So simple, no converging or diverging passages, straight tube or duct is here, flow is coming and that is exiting. So we assume this is one-dimensional TD and we have a perfect gas. So we have already defined what is a perfect gas. It has to be both calorically and thermally perfect. Then we'll call it a perfect gas, and we also assume that there is no heat transfer. So we are just concerned with the friction or from where this friction is coming from. What is the source of that?
Walls.
Yes. So because the fluid has some viscosity and will have no slip condition near the wall, so some frictional, because of that some effect will be there. It will, first of all, it will not allow you to have a reversible flow. It will not be isentropic, entropy loss will be there. So things like that we'll see. Okay. So now for a isentropic flow, let us begin with that. This is what I can define. I can say that we have a stagnation enthalpy which can be related to enthalpy at any point and kinetic energy V square by 2. So this is what we have been studying all along. Now let us also talk about this mass flow rate. So I can say that mass flow rate per unit area, this I can write as rho into V. Okay, and let us say that let us give it a term. So I say rho instead of rho V, I will write G. So this is something like mass flux. Okay, rho into V. Now this is what we had in the last slide, rho V. Now from this I can say that V is equal to G by rho, right? Just transfer rho from LHS to RHS. If you make a square of this, I can say V square and divide it by 2. So V square by 2 is equal to G square by rho square into 2. So this is what we have. Now this is also what we have had in the last slide. If I use this into this equation, if we combine both of them, so we can say H is equal to H naught minus G square by 2 rho square. So basically in this equation I have replaced V square by 2 by this quantity, and we have done rearrangement. We have taken H naught, we have taken this to the RHS, so it becomes H is equal to H naught minus this. So instead of this I have written this. Is this fine? How we have derived this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the equation for Fano line. So this is how we define a Fano line, and this is how a Fano line looks. So if you forget about this, just focus on this. These are the solid lines which represent Fano line. Okay. Now what we do here is, so this is H and nu 1 by rho. H and 1 by rho. Okay. So what will vary here? So if I, let us say I use this equation, I keep H as constant I keep rho as, sorry, I keep h is variable, rho is variable. So what can I keep? We have two more variables. I can keep h naught also. I can say that this is constant, and let us say I vary this. So I'll get plot for different values of g, right? If you plot this equation in, let us say instead of h, you have, let's say y is equal to, I will write it in simple terms so that you people are, let us say y is equal to, let us say c is a constant minus
X square.
x square. Fine. Is this okay? Y is equal to c minus x square. Now, this x is, what is y? Y is h, x is 1 by rho. Okay. X is 1 by rho, and let us say into some constant, into c1. So c1 is g square by 2. You understand what we are doing here? So basically it is like a parabolic or square curve. This is what we are interested in. That is what is drawn here. Okay, now since h naught is constant, so if you say how do I get h naught in this equation? So I say my h, if I want to do h is equal to h naught, I will say that this quantity becomes 0. Let me clear this once. Okay, so this is what we want to plot here. Sorry. Just hold for a second. I will come back. Yeah, sorry for that. So what do we have here is that if h has to be equal to h naught, then this quantity has to be 0, right? So you see, if this axis, this goes to 0, then all these curves are approaching h naught. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now these are the different curves for different values of g. So if we have a small g, it will look like this. If we have a large g, it will look like this, and this is for a medium g. Okay. So this is your Fano line, and these are lines of constant entropy. If you also draw entropy here, so the dotted line will represent for entropy. Okay. Now this is not a very useful form. Generally, for a pure substance, we know that entropy can be defined as a function of enthalpy and rho. Okay. So any, let us say any temperature or volume changes can be accounted by these two variables. So I can now, this is the equation we have for phenolide. Okay. So now instead of drawing in terms of H and rho, I can draw in terms of H and S. Okay. So this is what we had in terms of H and rho, or volume. Now let us say instead of that, I will draw in terms of H and S. So this is how it will look. Now again you can see that I will keep H naught as constant and G is varied the same way. So this is for large G, small g, and this is for medium G. Okay. So this is just a plot. This is the same equation that is used, and this is how it can be plotted. Is this fine? Any questions, or should I go and explain this? People are there or not there?
Sir, can we get H in form of S?
That's a good question. So, okay, I will derive that. I will show that in the next class. Fine. Let us assume now that we are having H in form of S, and from that we have drawn this. Okay. Let us now analyze this plot, and we look into the relation next time. So let us see how this varies. So let us take some comments on this. So phi of NO line. Now we know that all real processes entropy will increase, right? Second law, entropy has to increase for the universe. So for all real processes, it is not possible to obtain asymptotic. Entropy will definitely increase. That is one basic underlying understanding. Now let us look at flow at different points. So, okay, one more feature about this plot is that if you take, see, this is a curve. Okay, let us focus on one of these plots. So this is a curve which is drawn like this. So a point where, which is the maximum S, maximum entropy, right? Which is point, this is that point. Similarly, this is that point here, where your, basically your, what do you say, curve of that, slope of that curve becomes infinite. This will touch, the tangent will be vertical. Okay, so where the tangent is vertical, that point is your sonic point, choking point. There your throat becomes sonic. Okay, is this clear? For all these points which I have drawn here in red, the throat becomes sonic or choked. Is this clear to everyone? Yes, you people are here or not?
Yes, sir. Really.
Okay, so just tell me yes, no, or if you have any doubt, ask me. So for all this point, the throat becomes sonic. Now there are two branches, right? Either you can go this way or that way. So for this side, what will happen is one side, this is subsonic. Okay, so here let us say this A. For this part of the curve, the flow is subsonic. And this part of the curve, the flow is supersonic. Okay, now let us look at what will happen. So let me get a pointer here. So if the flow is, so let us say you have a duct. Now in that duct, if the flow is subsonic, okay, let us say we are at point A, the flow is subsonic now. If you have friction, what will happen? If you have friction, then from here where you can go? You can either go left or you can go right. What is the more preferable direction as per the second law? Which direction will increase your entropy?
Right.
Right, sir.
Right. So following second law, the entropy should increase. So it will go in this direction. So what will happen is velocity will increase, mass Mach number will increase, and h and p will decrease. Okay, is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Now another interesting point is that if the flow is initially supersonic, okay, let us start at point B. Now at point B, where it will go? So basically you have to follow this line, right? So you can either go left or right. So again, to increase entropy, it will go where? Right?
Yes, right.
It will go right. Now there will be some friction, and that will what it will cause is that it will decrease velocity and Mach number. So you see, it is approaching towards. So this region is for low velocity. This is for high velocity. So if it is going up, it means the velocity is decreasing. Or let me delete and explain it again. So let us just focus on one curve. So let us talk about this curve. So here Okay, just hold for a second. I'll come. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm back. So let us just focus on this curve, okay? And stop me if you don't understand. So for this curve, this point, let us define that this is a sonic point. This is where your throat becomes choked. And above this point is for subsonic region. And this AB is for supersonic. So if A, from A, if I go this side, this is subsonic, this is sonic. So if I go in this direction, what it means? Velocity is increasing and Mach number is increasing, right?
Yes.
You agree?
Yes.
So velocity and Mach number increase in this direction. Now what about H? H will be decreasing because H is in Y direction. So if we are going down, it means H is also decreasing, right? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
H is also H is decreasing, and similarly pressure will also decrease. So basically we are increasing velocity, so pressure has to decrease. That is what we studied for nozzle and diffuser. Similarly, if let us say we are in this supersonic zone, right? So if I go in this direction, this is what I have to, because we have to increase entropy following second law. Okay. So if I go in that direction, what will happen is velocity and Mach number. So from supersonic, I am approaching a region which has sonic, m is equal to 1. So which means that Mach number it has to decrease, then only it will come to 1, right? So in this path, Mach number is decreasing and velocity is also decreasing. Is it fine?
Yes.
Now if you decrease Mach number, and what will happen to H? So H is in vertical direction. Y coordinate, you are anyways increasing. So H increases, right? What about pressure? So we have seen from nozzle and diffuser relations that if your velocity is decreasing, then pressure has to increase. And if your velocity is increasing, then pressure has to decrease, right? So this is how these variables will vary for these two branches. Okay. So let us say we have a subsonic flow. We went up to here and we reached this point. Okay. Now, if I want to go in this direction, is it possible or not possible?
Not possible.
Why not, or why? Yes? Possible, not possible?
Not possible.
Why? What is the problem?
Because entropy can't decrease by friction.
Correct. Similarly, if I go from here, if I go from supersonic, if I reach sonic, then I cannot go to subsonic region because entropy is decreasing at both the directions, right?
Yes.
So as we have defined earlier, so at the point where entropy is maximum, that is your choking point. There m is equal to 0. Okay. So by looking at this discussion, what we can say is that subsonic flow will never become supersonic and vice versa, and supersonic will never become sonic unless there is a discontinuity. You cannot do that without any discontinuity. You can not do it. So basically this discontinuity will be your shock. We will talk about normal and oblique shock, but as of now we can understand that a supersonic flow will remain in supersonic regime, a subsonic flow will remain in subsonic regime, because they are following second law of thermodynamics, unless you have a discontinuity like shock. So any discontinuity has to be there, otherwise it cannot change your regime. So it has to be either in subsonic regime or supersonic regime. It cannot change that regime. Okay. Now other interesting features are that because of friction, your stagnation pressure will also be reduced. Okay, asymptotic stagnation pressure will also be reduced as a result of friction, and that is that doesn't matter whether the flow is subsonic or supersonic. Any amount of friction will reduce the stagnation pressure. Okay. So okay, let us stop for till here today. Maybe next class we'll start with some more equations. Okay, let me stop recording first.